Today's episode we'll be talking about flashcarts and also a flashcart with an adapter. Mainly I'll be talking about, well not mainly, but I'll be talking about the Super Everdrive X5 and the Super UFO 8 or Pro 8. Now one of the cool things about the Super UFO Pro 8, I mean it's an older cart, it allows you to put your cartridge on top. Some people call it a donor cart. I just call it an adapter. But the main purpose of that is, say if you have a Super Famicom like I do, you can play your US games on it by putting the cartridge into the Super Famicom and then putting your game on the top. Another purpose of that, from what I read online, you can dump your cartridges as a ROM into your card, which yes, this cartridge supports SD cards. So you can dump your backups into the card itself, but it also allows you to play your own backups. Now I know some games require chips. I'll use Pilot Wings as an example, or Star Fox. With this model, you can't play any of those special chip games unless the donor cart, which the cart that's going to go on the top, supports that chip. So say if Pilot Wings, that uses one of the chips. If you want to play Super Mario Kart or something, I'm not 100% sure, but I know if you have that cartridge on top, once you run the ROM, a backup in this case, it'll actually load and you're able to play it. If you don't do that, then the game will just freeze up and you're like, oh, what the happened? I don't use the Super UFO Pro 8 anymore because it ended up burning out. I don't know what the happened to it. It just started smelling like burnt metal, or whatever you want to call the smell. I just call it burnt metal. I was kind of mad when that broke because that was my first flash cart, if you want to call it. But I was mainly going to use it to play my Super Nintendo games on my Super Famicom. But that's out of the question now until I get a replacement, which is coming in 2 to 3 weeks. One of my friends, he donated to me a Super Everdrive, which I like a lot. It's the same concept, but there's no top loader on it. It also takes SD cards, but just the micro. You don't need the adapter itself for it. The whole purpose of this cartridge right here, it's mainly to play your ROMs. I'm saying backups because that's the proper way, I guess. If you just say ROMs, then, you know, I don't want to get into any of that shit. But the main purpose of this, you can play your backups on it. And say if you have a Japanese game, if you were to back up the ROM and patch it with an English patch, this cartridge, along with the Super UFO and any other flash cartridges, will allow you to run them. I know there's more models of the Super Everdrive, like the FX Pack Pro. I didn't want to have the person fork over like another $200. Just the Super Everdrive is fine for me. Like, I don't really need all those DSP chip games because I already own the physical copies. So the extra money on top, it's kind of pointless to me because I'm not going to plan on... It's not emulation, it runs through the system hardware itself, but I'm so used to just saying emulating. But I'm not going to run my backups on the Super Everdrive of those special chip games, as the ones I have, I already own the physical copies. And here's the main thing. I mainly got both of these because I have a Super Famicom that I picked up a few weeks back, and I don't have any of the games for it. So back to the Super UFO. I bought that so I can play my Super Nintendo games on the Super Famicom, but like I said, it crapped out on me. It did get its job done while it lasted, and then I waited a week, and then that's when I got my Super Everdrive, which does the same shit, just no adapter on the top. So that cart's mainly going to be in here. I would connect it and show you that it's working, but I don't have my capture card yet. So this is just a preview video, if you want to call it. And then here's the Super Everdrive. Looks like a Super Famicom game, and it sits out of the console about the same height as one. In my opinion, I left both the products. If you're interested into getting one, I'd go with the Super Everdrives. As the Super UFO, it runs older. What's it called? It was built a while back. It has a decent amount of features, but I guess I'll say it's prehistoric. Like the Super Everdrive, it's worth the money. It's almost $100, but it'll do the same thing as the Super UFO does, not counting the card adapter on the top. If you absolutely need a flash cart with that on the top, good luck finding one. Like the Super UFO, I know it's kind of hard to find. You have to really look for it. Other than that, you can just buy a slot that you can put on top of your cart slot that'll play the US-based games.